Today we are celebrating the 8th Ayurveda Day, and in India the National Ayurveda Day is celebrated every year on the Dhanvantari Jayanti, that is Dhanteras. And we would like to start with a short video clip from World Health Organization.
What has been for centuries the integral source of health for people and communities? What is still the first port of call for millions of people worldwide for their health and well-being? Its traditional, ancestral and indigenous knowledges of health and the world around us, constantly evolving, in balance with self, in harmony with nature. But how can we harness its potential to help us address the health challenges of our busy lives? To turn the promise of health for all into a reality for all. To deliver people-centered health services that are respectful of cultures and traditions. By sharing our knowledge and experiences of traditional practices, we can understand, acknowledge, and advance its role in building a fairer, safer, and healthier future. Respecting the wisdom passed down from generations and embracing science, technology, and innovative thinking. Blending traditional and conventional, underpinned by robust evidence, innovation, new technologies, and sustainability. Imagine if we combine the best of the modern and the best of the ancient to support harmony with self, societies, and nature. It can be done. Together, we can embrace the potential of traditional medicine and create a healthier, more sustainable, and balanced world.
May I please request our master to share his thoughts on this topic?
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Member of Parliament, distinguished guests, all of you Ayurveda gurus and practitioners. Of course, all of you know more about Ayurveda than I do. What I'll do is maybe talk about something of how WHO is taking the traditional medicine portfolio forward and what are the changes taking place over the last couple of years. I'll also briefly talk about how India is promoting traditional medicine, Ayush, including Ayurveda, both domestically and also internationally at the WHO level. So I have a small presentation. So basically trying to advance evidence-based traditional medicine through global partnerships. Let me handle this. According to the latest WHO data, 88% of the member states say that they do use traditional and complementary medicine. So that's a very large number, although we tend to think that traditional medicine is only restricted to a certain set of countries, maybe the developing countries, but that's not really the case. If we look at the number of member states that have national laws to regulate the traditional medicine, in 2018 the data said 109 countries, so it's a very large number. And also around 100 countries have national policies of traditional and complementary medicines. This is how the training programs are available in countries. This number is not very high. Then the second chart gives us the number of 75 countries who have national research institutions. This is the 1993 is the number, which is a dated number around a decade ago, but this is the latest available data. where the member states have mechanisms to ensure compliance with manufacturing requirements for herbal medicine and related products. And there's a huge growth in the countries who are regulating this sector. And a growing number of countries also have health insurance covered for traditional and complementary medicine. And the next chart gives us some of the reasons which countries have indicated in terms of their challenge face how to promote the traditional medicine. So this relates to lack of research data, lack of financial support for research, lack of education and training possibilities in traditional medicine, and appropriate mechanisms to regulate this sector. These are the crucial challenges which need to be overcome if we want to see more and more integration of these traditional treatment medicine systems into the mainstream healthcare. If we look at India, in recent years, in 2014, the Ayush Ministry was established. Then we have several research institutions, and the most recent ones are listed here, which started in 2020. The WHO Global Center for Traditional Medicine is coming up in Jamnagar in Gujarat now. And this year, India hosted the first WHO Global Traditional Medicine Summit. In India, there are almost 3,000 Ayurveda hospitals, 15,000 Ayurveda-related health facilities, more than 500,000 Ayurveda physicians, 7,000 licensed pharmacies, 120 drug testing labs, and a very large number of colleges. When we look at the side of the business side and the manufacturing of products, various steps are being taken by the government to ensure the quality of these products, both in terms of licensing, certifying, and also testing. There is an Ayush premium mark which has been introduced for certain products which qualify under the relevant guidelines. Also, the government of India is trying to promote new businesses in this field through, for example, initiatives like Ayush Startup Challenge. This is a slide of some of the companies, well-known companies who are in this sector in India. This is some of the technical aspects that the Indian government is trying to take to ensure that this goes in a more harmonized and standardized way forward. India is exporting Ayush products to more than 100 countries, and it's a big market. There's also something called the Traditional Knowledge Digital Library, which has been established in India, which was started to take care of the biopiracy issues which had started to come up. Sometimes in some developed economies, some companies were trying to patent things which were really available through the traditional systems of knowledge. So India had gone out and won several such cases in international courts, and we have developed this digital library, which is of great use for researchers and practitioners. There is also an Ayush research portal, which is quite useful. India also offers a number of fellowships and scholarships for people from across the world. There are a number of agreements with countries to set up Ayush academic chairs in their universities and other research institutions. One such is there in Latvia, which also, this embassy also works with them. Right now, India is working for the inclusion of Ayurveda and related systems in what is called the second module of the supplementary chapter on traditional medicine under the WHO ICT. It is expected that this will happen in the coming months. Last year, India hosted the Global Ayush Investment and Innovation Summit. As I mentioned, the WHO Global Center for Traditional Medicine is coming up in Jamnagar. India has committed a large fund of $100 million over the next 10 years for this. This year, during our G20 presidency, we have hosted the Traditional Medicine Global Summit, and these are the areas which were the areas of focus. So, evidence, science, technology, data, artificial intelligence, and also biodiversity, sustainability, equity issues. This is a picture from that summit held in August. There's a brief clip on the summit. There's a lot of work going on integrating scientific approaches to validate many of these traditional medicine practices and systems. This is just an example of one of the next conferences, big conferences that is coming up in Dubai in January. So I would like to end here by saying that India is really committing resources to see that we can have a greater integration of traditional medicine, especially Ayurveda, in the mainstream healthcare systems for several reasons: for achieving universal health coverage, for achieving One Health concept, which really means that the health of humans, the animal species, and nature, environment is all interdependent and interconnected. So much work is going on, and we are hopeful that there will be concrete progress as we continue to go forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. And as Ambassador mentioned, we have an upcoming Center for Traditional Medicine and Global Healthcare in Jamnagar, Gujarat. Let's have a clip on that.
Welcome to the World Health Organization's Global Center for Traditional Medicine. Its journey started in homes and communities around the world. For many people, traditional medicine is their first recourse to maintain health, treat illness, and promote well-being, with knowledge and practices passed on through generations and harmonious with nature. Local practices have now become global industries, and people and governments want to be assured they can access the best, evidence-based, safe, affordable, and effective traditional medicine. The Centre's leadership vision is to harness the power of ancient wisdom and modern science for the health of people and the planet. To realise this vision, the Centre will be a home for global partnerships with core areas of work. A home for evidence and learning, where through systematic reviews of research, we go beyond guesswork and provide a solid evidence-based foundation for traditional medicine practices used by billions of people, and educate health workers and the public in the use of traditional medicines safely. A home for data and analytics, where we learn to truly understand modern traditional medicine use and impact, gathering data via information systems, surveys and monitoring, and analysing these data to help governments, health workers, industries and individuals make better, more accurate decisions. A home for sustainability and equity. It aims to understand and protect our natural resources and build on ancient heritages of culture and biodiversity to create a more sustainable future. A home for innovation and technology, harnessing the latest advances, including artificial intelligence and brain scans, to expand the horizons of traditional medicine, and developing modern applications to promote its safe and effective use. A knowledge hub with global links. The World Health Organization's Global Center for Traditional Medicine is based in Jamnagar, Gujarat in India, acting as a knowledge hub for traditional medicine that links to centers of excellence around the world. Join us on this exciting journey of traditional medicine through ancient times, modern science and new horizons for people's health and well-being.
With that, today we are joined by an expert panel on Ayurveda. We have Ms. Eva Schenkler, Dr. Siddhartha Limier, Ms. Camilla Silver, Professor Divan, and I would like to welcome all of them, and also Mrs. Tina Anderson, who has agreed to moderate the session for today. And she is the founder of Ayurveda Sweden Association and the General Secretary of European Ayurveda Association. Please welcome, join the stage, and Ayurveda.
Hello, dear dignitaries and Honorable Ambassador Sri Jamayalai, and dear all of you who came here today. We are happy to have you here and for the embassy to hosting this event. It's a true privilege to be invited here as a moderator at this roundtable discussion that we will do to see the future and the present of Ayurveda in Sweden. We are gathered here at the auspicious days of Lord Dhanvantari, celebrating Ayurveda. We should not forget that we are all here because we are healers in a way. As the founder of Ayurveda Association in Sweden, I will actually tell you how many people we are practicing Ayurveda here today. I think in Sweden we are approximately 300 people practicing Ayurveda, and we are more than 10,000 who has a basic knowledge or educated over the last maybe 30 years. We are 4 schools educating Ayurveda practitioners in Sweden, becoming an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant, but to have the medicine knowledge, I have to go to India. And then we have Dr. Tejal, who is educated in India, and we have Eva Schenkler, you are educated in Sweden and in America, and also, I will introduce you later, and Professor Divan and Camilla. So we are all practitioners of Ayurveda. Our goal is to make Ayurveda accessible to more population in Sweden by education, by spreading the word, and through what we hope will be research also in Sweden. Ayurveda offers a holistic approach which includes the physical, mental, and the existential spiritual way of gaining health. We're happy to see an increasing interest of Ayurveda in Sweden, as Tanmaya mentioned. The world needs a paradigm when it comes to health, and we need to have finding another way to dealing with our diseases from another perspective. And that perspective might be to see instead how healing happens. The word doctor in Swedish is läkare, and läkare is actually a healer. So that's the traditional word for all healers in all of the world. So maybe that is what happens when a doctor sees his patient. He heals the patient, but we have forgotten that knowledge. The knowledge that happens when people meet and they exchange energy. And that energy might be seen as prana, the life force, that we know in Ayurveda. So medicine needs to be personalized, and we know that Ayurveda has been using personalized medicine for over the 5,000 years that Ayurveda has been, or it has actually been from the whole existence, but we say 5,000 years. So we need to use the knowledge, and we need to make it more scientific in our way of understanding the world. So in Ayurveda we use dinacharya, like the daily routines, to promote health and well-being. And I think I will take the opportunity to introduce my colleagues here. So maybe you should start with you, Dr. Tijan. Will you please a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Stina, and hello and namaste everyone. I'm Tejal. I'm an Ayurvedic doctor and Panchakarma specialist. I have done my Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery, which is an Ayurvedic doctor education from India. And I've been practicing Ayurveda for 19 plus years now. So I'm practicing Ayurveda in Sweden for last 14 years. And I'm also Panchakarma specialist, so I give Panchakarma treatments. So Panchakarma is detoxifying and rejuvenating treatments. So I have my clinic here in Stockholm where I give Ayurvedic consultations. I also have Ayurvedic cooking classes in Stockholm, and I'm also going to have an Ayurvedic massage therapeutic course in Malmo, so where I'm going to teach Panchakarma treatments. So thank you for inviting me, and thank you, Embassy.
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you to invite me. I'm Eva Schindler, and I'm educated in Ayurveda in Rishikesh and in America and in Sweden. I'm also a registered nurse, and my topics is in behavioral medicine and health psychology, as well as in public health. So I have been working with Ayurveda the last 25 years, I think. I go to India regularly. I go on Saturday again and meet my mentor. And I started an education called Ayurveda Life Training, where I had Stina, as I'm a mentor for her nowadays. And I have seen a big change in Sweden during these 25 years. Actually, I'm so happy to be here and see what work is going on to establish Ayurveda, especially here in Sweden, because we really need it. Thank you.
Let me first clarify that I'm not an Ayurveda practitioner. I'm a medical allopathic doctor. I was trained many years back now, 1971. So, but I'm interested in science and the science of medicine, and that also includes, of course, traditional medicine. And I've focused very much on yoga. That has been one part of my research, and I will tell you a little bit more about it later on. And I've been professor at Karolinska Institute. I have not done any Ayurvedic evaluations, but I've learned in last 25, 30 years I've been professor that there is lots of knowledge which we already knew, which can be integrated in what we know now. And I think an integration is very important for the, as Stina said, healing. And so we can discuss a little more about, prevention, promotion, rehabilitation, and cure also. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Camilla Silver, and I have my ground in behavior science bachelor degree with a kind of, it's more into stress management and promotion health and prevention health. And I've been a yoga teacher for 23 years, and maybe 15 years ago I also started more into Ayurveda, so it's been part of it since that. So I'm a Vedic counselor, an Ayurvedic practitioner, and a yoga teacher.
Yes, and my name is Stina Andersson, and yes, I'm also an Ayurvedic practitioner. I started to study Ayurveda in 2016 when I first met Eva. And I was kind of burned out, and she told me to start to meditate 5 minutes every day. So I did, and my heart rate, it was going down from 90 beats per minute to 45. So that's very efficient, I would say. I've been studying at the American Institute of Vedic Studies, and also in India, and I've been studying for a year, of course, in Sweden, my first experience. And I regularly go to India, and I am happy to be one of the speakers at the World Ayurveda Congress, and I will go next year as well to do so. We started this Ayurveda Association 2 years ago, but we have now finalized, so everything is set with the board and everything, so we are happy that we can meet here at the Indian Embassy, which actually was the first way that we all met here, coming together, all practitioners. It's so important that we meet and we exchange how we feel about Ayurveda and how we feel about Ayurveda for the future. Ayurveda has been around here since the 80s, and we now are going from being something that we use in the kitchen to more what we use for scientific studies, and we make this more for the public so everyone can gain from Ayurveda. And that's amazing. So we will start with some questions, how we can use Ayurveda, and I think I will start to ask Eva. From your perspective as a behavioral medicine specialist and experience from both being a nurse and being an Ayurvedic practitioner, what do you think is the root cause of our NCDs, and how does Ayurveda offers solutions for healing when it comes to these non-communicable diseases?
It's a very easy question, isn't it? Okay, of course, in my field of my perspective to this kind of question, we can see it's a lifestyle problem, of course. And if we, the main point is that it's, as my point of view, is eating habits, but mainly eating artificial food products. That's really, when we can see all the countries, developing countries, when they left their old traditional way of eating and took over the Western or American style of eating, like lots of fried food and lots of sugar, lots of sodas, quickly overweight and diabetic occur, especially among young people. And today we can see we have like an epidemic of diabetic in India, in China, and so on. So the eating habit, but especially eating artificial food products like processed oil and so on. Of course, poor education is a huge problem, as well as a society that is, for example, Sweden, we are very, very effective here. We work a lot, we stress a lot, and also we don't have so much of meaningful social interactions, and that produce loneliness and sometimes helplessness, as we can see. There's many causes, of course. The second question was, what can we help out with in an Ayurvedic perspective? So we can see, if we more look into what is the main point of Ayurveda, it is about lifestyle and it's about education. And we know that we can reach many different problems in a way that we use Ayurvedic treatments. We have so many different treatments, and we have a palette of Ayurvedic medicine. And especially we are good at help and support people in the mind shift, we can say, that we have to take, to understand that we are responsible for our own health. So we need an education, and what I suggest is an education that we can start from the school with Ayurveda. That would be my really nice idea, because if we don't know what to do, we can't do it. So that's a part of my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. And you also introduced me to strength-based leadership. And that was amazing, because when you ask a question to people, can you please tell your 3 strengths? Then in school, the kids don't know, and the teacher doesn't know. And how can you possibly know where to go in life if you don't know your strength? So I think that's a really great approach to the behavior in our society, and to know what we can go for to become brilliant as persons. Yeah. So Dr. Tejal, I would like to ask you, because you have been practicing Ayurveda a lot, and my question to you would be the daily practice of Ayurveda, and as a Panchakarma therapist, how would you say that Ayurveda could help in our behavior and in our lifestyle to prevent diseases? And can you describe a little bit about Ayurveda and its approach? Would be great. Thank you.
Sure. So when we are talking about Ayurveda, so Ayurveda is a science of life. It is more than just lifestyle and diet, it's an actual medicine system. So when we are talking about Ayurveda, what the aim of Ayurveda is to promote health. That is the main important aim of Ayurveda, to promote health, prevention of the disease, and then comes the medicine with Ayurvedic medicines and other treatments. So the first part is promotion of the health. And for the promotion of the health, Ayurveda has given some Ayurvedic daily routines, seasonal routines. Also the diet. Diet is the important factor according to Ayurveda. When we say diet, diet is the thing that we are what we eat. The same way, the diseases are also formed because of the diet. So when Eva mentioned that the responsibility, so non-communicable diseases, when we talk about the non-communicable diseases, WHO has mentioned that these are the diseases which cannot spread from one person to another. So here we are taking the responsibility to individual. So it's an individual responsibility, individual imbalances that are causing the non-communicable diseases. So which are the things which are causing the diseases? So Ayurveda has mentioned that disease will not happen just as it is by tomorrow. There is a process. There are 6 stages of disease happening according to Ayurveda. So you will get some signs, you will get some symptoms before you will have the disease. So it's very important to see those signs, see the symptoms. I will give you an example. If you feel lethargic in the body, if you feel tired, if you feel that you are not feeling the hunger for the food or hunger to do anything, something is imbalanced in the body. These are the signs, body is giving you the signs that okay, there is maybe the digestive fire, the Agni, Ayurveda gives more importance also to the ugly. That is not working. So you should try and fix that before it goes to the next level and creates some disease in the body. So that is the reason when we are talking about the promotion of the health, prevention of the disease, so there are some factors, there are some great tools Ayurveda has mentioned. So when we talk about dinacharya, daily routines, seasonal routines, selecting the specific diet for your body type, for your imbalances in the body. Then selecting the exercise depending on how much strength do you have, how much body type or how many, where you are with your life. Even if you do the extreme exercise, it's going to create the problem. So the right amount of exercise, right amount of positive behavior. So positivity is very important. Mental health is nowadays a big problem because there is a lot of negative thinking. You cannot change the negative thinking. Immediately start thinking positively. It will not work immediately. So you have to work on that. So positivity is very important. So there are many factors that Ayurveda has explained in detail. So I think I answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tian. It feels like you are talking about personalized medicine. But this is amazing, and we have to address that every disease has a root cause. And if we're looking at the root cause, we want to find a solution. So we need to change our behavior. So that's why we have so many behavioral medicine specialists here today, because they know how to do the change. It's not easy for everyone to make a change, but once it has established, it's easy. So we always start with hot boiled water in the morning, usually. That's a good routine to start with. I think I recommend every client to do that, because it has a huge impact, and it's amazing to see the results just by changing from cold water to hot water. And since the body is about 60% water, you can imagine what will happen. So let me talk to Professor Vinod. You have published an article recently in the research of Journal of Research in Ayurvedic Science, and you pinpointed some challenges that are possible and some possibilities for Ayurvedic medicine and the importance of integrative medicine. Can you please tell us a little bit about that, and also about the research that has been going on more according to yoga, our sister science?
Thank you. First of all, that no system of medicine is adequate for everything. For example, if you look at allopathic, which I am trained in, it's not adequate for doing everything. And same with I think the other kind of medicines, the Ayurveda is not for everything also. So, and these knowledges, like traditional knowledges, come from long times of practice. So the evaluation of many of the traditional system of medicine is done practitioner-based. That you are a practitioner, you see what happens. And it's not very different. You know, I took a course a long time back now from David Sackett, who is a professor of trials, randomized controlled trials. And he said that every practitioner must, from the day when he starts practicing, should see the patient as a randomized controlled trial. So you have one patient coming, you learn from that patient, the second one coming, you learn from the patient, and then you integrate that knowledge. In David Sackett and many others, I mean, if you look at the allopathic medicine or biomedicine, that we consider randomized controlled trials are the most unbiased method to evaluate any kind of evidence. Now the problem comes with many of the traditional medicines. For example, I said this is practitioner-based medicine. That they are learned over the year, generations, and thousands of years, what you have learned also. Whereas the biomedicine we evaluate as individual based. That means we take a number of people here, we randomly divide them into two groups. One group gets something and the other group doesn't get something. And then we see that whether the intervention had any effect or not. And that's a randomized control trial. That means random allocation and there is a control group. So I have done a number of studies with yoga. And the colleague which I have is together, he has done many studies both for prevention but also for the cure. For example, depression. Now depression, of course you can treat it with medicine. Now we have quite a lot of effective medicine. But combining yoga with the medicine, you can reduce the dose of medicine. Or sometimes you even can avoid medicine after a long time when you've done the yoga. Same with the alcohol dependence, for example. There are studies done at Karolinska Institute. It's the same thing, that you can improve the whatever the condition, both with the allopathic medicine but also combining it, what we call it integrative medicine. And the two studies which we are, one we have completed, one is about the elderly and yoga. And when we were writing this application, that's about 5 years ago, I said that what is important for a person who's 65, 70-year-old, what is important? It's important that they feel good. And we know that people feel good with yoga. I mean, if you see in Sweden or even the whole Western countries, USA, millions of people do yoga every day also. They must be doing for some reason, It's not that, it makes them sick, that's why they do yoga. No, I think it makes them feel good also. So we asked for this funding that our primary aim was that to make the people feel well, the wellness also. And so my colleague who's a trialist also, he said, well, normally the reviewers don't like this kind of self-reported things that patient is saying that. I said, well, can you also explain it? Because for a 65, 70, 75, 80-year-old person, for 5, 10, 20 years to live is a good thing that they live happily also. And that's why we have. So we completed that project and showed that yoga in elderly improves their quality of life. The project which we have now is about the yoga and long COVID. Now long COVID has several aspects. There are two aspects which are very important. One is the mental health and the other one is the more physical, for example, the breathing problem. And breathing problem has been shown that yoga breathing exercises improve patient, for example, in COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So that we are going to do that in the this long COVID, and the other one is the mental health related. So there I think we know that very much of the yoga effect is through the vagus nerve, which is a stomach to the brain, which goes, and that by doing yoga you improve your not only the stomach but also you improve your brain. So these are the research, but there is a problem with the research. That is that because I said that the practitioner-based Ayurveda, for example, the scientists don't agree actually that how should you evaluate a holistic, for example, intervention, just like. And so we have proposed actually that we should ask all the biomedical researchers, the Ayurvedic research, Unani and all, there are many of different, and create a consensus about it, how to evaluate it. Unfortunately, that project was not funded, but I think we are still trying that we will have it. The project was between India and Sweden collaboration. And so I think we are going to approach the Ayush Ministry, and they are very much interested in this. The other project which we are going to do in India is the COPD, because we have a big problem with pollution, climate effect and so on. So COPD, the chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a very, very important issue. And there I think you can have both the Ayurvedic treatment, but that's not enough. So you complement it with the yoga breathing exercises. And in that way, I think we must work together. I think medical people, it should not be Ayurveda this side and the other. The respiratory physician I know, he regularly sends his patient with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease to yoga also. So it's not something which that people don't want to do it. The other, actually one more from the this Dandrid hospital, they carried out this study about after myocardial infarction, many people develop atrial fibrillation. And they did this study, they showed that the yoga exercise was preventing the atrial fibrillation. So yoga is better in many ways. Of course, exercise is better, but yoga is even better.
Thank you. Applause to that. That's amazing to hear. And I'm happy to find that all this research has been going on for a while, and that there are more opportunities to come. We feel like there are more fundings maybe to put into to ask for and to apply for when it comes to yoga and Ayurveda and also medicine. So we'll see. And I'm interested in, from your perspective, Camilla, can you please tell a little bit more about your practice and how you feel that Ayurveda can contribute, and yoga as well?
Yes, in the Vedic concept, that is both yoga and Ayurveda, we look at the whole being, not only the physical exercise yoga, but also the mental yoga. We look at the what we eat and how we do many things. So, Eva, you talked about what we eat, and then we have to digest what we eat. We also have, like, what do we feed our senses with? Everything that we take in by our senses, our eyes, our ears, what we feel, everything has to digest. And in this society nowadays, we are constantly just getting so much information, so much impressions, and everything of that we have to digest. So I want to give you a picture. If you think of a river, the river is the mind, and the water in the river are our thoughts. So our everyday thoughts make up the water in the river. So we have a huge responsibility to see what kind of thoughts I allow to be in my mind, to see if the water and the river is clear and quiet and softly, floating, or if it is all polluted with thoughts of anger, jealousy, or whatever. So our everyday thoughts, they make up our mind. So what to do about this? We have responsibility to build up our awareness, build up what we send our attention to. So the yoga and the Ayurveda give us tools to be more focused so that we can let some of the impressions just pass by and we don't get into them. So by doing this, we are creating a more stable mind that is not as affected by the everyday stress as well. Because most of the stress we get in the body is due to that we are so full in our head, so we don't know how to cope with everything that we have. So we have to clean up a bit. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So we have to digest our impressions, and sometimes we feel that either if it's the mind that starts the problem, or if it's the physical body. What is the first? Is that the hen or the egg? Or maybe we have to go and treat both. And there's also a tradition in Sweden that we rely so much about science, but we forgot the perspective of the spiritual knowledge and the existential problems that we do have here. And there is a thing in Ayurveda called Pragyaparad, and I think that will address all problems. Pragyaparad says that everything starts because we are, our minds are a bit mad, and it's the intellect, the mistake of the intellect. And one of the mistakes is that we have forgotten who we are. So I think that the spiritual practice of Ayurveda is actually what we do in the yogic traditions. So the aim of yoga is to unite again, and maybe that is to unite the gut with the brain through the vagus nerve. So maybe that's the secret. But then we see also that the toxicity in our body is huge, because we have so much air pollution and we have all these thoughts. So maybe we should also address the possibility of Ayurveda in cleansing. That's actually what we do in the pranayama. So we clean the body through negative thoughts, as we said. So that's really a way forward. So the life force prana is used to regulate our body, and so much can be done just by taking a deep breath. So let me see here. I think that Eva, you can also talk a little bit about mental health. And today, mental health is one of our, what we consider as being a non-communicable disease. And in Sweden, we have increased especially among young people, the health problems increasing every year. So can you please tell us a little bit about that and how Ayurveda can help?
Also a very easy question to answer.
Yes.
Well, I will not dig too much in it, because we know a lot about mental illness, stress and so on. But there is some particularly thing that we can pinpoint. I think if we look at the society, we have a society with all the movies, all the books, all the computer games and so on that just are focusing on death and problems. We also have news that always are showing crisis and problems all the time. And the problem is, what are we going to do with all this information? So young people especially are more sensitive to this because they are not resilient enough. So if we build, as we know, in behavioral medicine and we can understand spirituality, we know that this environment are influencing our behavior. So if we day out and day out are confronting with all these darkness and problems and crisis, of course it will be overwhelming and you will feel sort of helplessness. So, and we're talking about our own responsibility, but it's not easy if you haven't got the tools. So Ayurveda is a very beautiful way to give people, in a loving way, I would say, tools in how can I take responsibility on my own path. How can I manage to do this mind shift? And we really can help people with that. And there are some things I would like to point out here. Ayurveda has this tremendous, beautiful way with three dosha system. A three dosha system is a kind of a classification with three different qualities: Vata, Pitta, Kapha. It's like, you know, DNA. The basis of DNA has 4 bases, and that can create all and numerous kind of life on earth. And it's the same with these 3 dosha. So if we can help people to understand the 3 dosha system, that we are different. We have this personalized treatment, how we treat every person in not just this cause, but also that kind of personality. So we can really give person with mental illness a guideline on lifestyle, on treatments that also calming the body. We can give them medicine that strengthen the physical health so they can manage to do the different. And we can also introduce yoga. As we hear, yoga is an important way to bring health. The breathing exercises, and of course the mind has to be mature, and we do that with meditation as well as like mindfulness, we can call it nowadays, because many people know mindfulness and there's lots of research on mindfulness. So it's a lot of different tools that Ayurveda can bring in to really help to work with mental illness. I just want to say a story that when I started to learn about Ayurveda, I thought in my beginning it was just a physical way to treat, you know, because it's very physical. You take the person and you take medicine and so on. And suddenly I saw a documentary about a patient who had schizophrenia. And in Sweden, or in the Western world, when we treat schizophrenia, we absolutely not do any treatments or give them herbal medicine, but that's exactly what we do in Ayurveda. And it was amazing to see this remarkable change for this person with this sort of treatment with schizophrenia. So we know we are just in the beginning in the Western world to understand really the potential of Ayurveda and how we can use it, both in a mental illness problem as well as physical. Yeah, I think I saw that. Thank you.
Excellent. And that's amazing to hear. And isn't that strange that we don't touch people? And we have become so distant from this healing. And I know I have today it's mental illness. It's increasing. And I have friends who has been actually going to the hospital for treating those problems. And I'm so surprised to hear that no one ever asked the question, how are you? That's a good way to do. So, Professor Devan, I would like to talk to you about the world and the society and what is needed for practitioners and for teachers and citizens to establish integrative medicine as a concept in Sweden. That's an easy question again.
Before I answer that, let me mention a couple of other things where I'm involved in research. It's a scientific research to support Ayurvedic, where the yoga, meditations. I don't think many people know the name Vikram Patel. He was a professor in Oxford, and he had done 30 years actually. He's done many studies, both in England but also in India, on mindful meditation. And I think this is a practice which is thoroughly evaluated. So it's not that, because if you go to talk to some clinician who's like allopathic like myself, they say, no, the Ayurveda is not evaluated. No, we have lots of evidence that it works. And so I think those who are practicing Ayurveda, they should not be, weak, defensive, They should say, well, we have also the evidence also, even in the modern way also. The other project I would say that is it's very interesting. I have a student, she's a practiced eye doctor in India, and she came to me about 3 months ago, and she said that, I have a refractive error, because you use the glasses. And so I practice eye yoga, and I have stabilized my, because the glasses are not changing. I said, well, that sounds very interesting. So I said, well, why don't you write this up, and then we start it with a randomized control trial to find out. Now, last week, I found a professor here in Karolinska Institute who's studying the eye movement. He's an eye doctor. His eye movement and how the eye movements influence the brain. And so he's using PET camera and all that, the most modern way. So I have put them together now that, well, okay, we can actually evaluate it. Not only that the refractive error, now many people who say, what is refractive error? You can go and get glasses. 90% of the Chinese have refractive error, 70% in India also. So it's a big public health problem. So I think there is a treatment for that, stabilizing, which is the Ayurveda, because normally people say yoga and so on, they are preventive, promoted. But in this case, I think it stops the development of worsening of the refractive error. Now the question you asked me about, I don't think I can answer it, but I would say that, as I've said earlier also, that I think we should look for the science in both what we practice. And I think we've said, many of you said, that we should look at the person. And you mentioned about Vedic and so on. But I know a little bit about the philosophy of the Bharat, that if you want to find anything, you find in yourself, inside. You look inside, not outside. Because normally we try to find things outside. Look at inside. And I think that is what the meditation, yoga, all that is, that you look at inside, and that would improve your strength. You don't get sick, or you don't get many of these problems. And at the same time, you know that it's me. I am control of my body also. Just to give an example, about 10 or 15 years ago, I was in India, and the Swedish embassy in India, they invited Karolinska Institute to a seminar which was about the corporate hospitals, because Sweden was interested to support that infection and many other things. And there was lots of discussion, but then the CEO of the Fortis Hospital, he stood up and he said, well, we Indians, we know perfectly well how to diagnose a disease and how to treat it. But we are terrible in taking care of the patient. And I think this is what you are saying, is that, so I said that, in Sweden, if a doctor meets a patient, first thing that he goes out and tell the name of the patient, bring him or her in, and then he shake the hand. Now it is the namaste, which is because of the COVID. And I think that soft part of the healing is not appreciated, because we have also in India doctors who think they are everything. They know everything and so on. But they know about disease, they don't know about the patient, because the patient knows more about his or her body than doctor does. Doctor is meeting him for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, doing some tests and so on. This person has lived with his body for many years also. So I think we must rely on the patient more. And I think that is one thing which I've been going to India, many, medical schools and so on. This is first thing I give the example. Trust your patient. First, ask them. And how they are feeling, as you said, that how you are feeling. I think Sweden can give some, because I've lived in Sweden for nearly 50 years, So I know that Swedish doctor is both taking care of the body, but also the mind, in the sense that the soft side of the care is also there. So there is something I think we can work together, and there is already very much collaboration even in this field. When regard to I think what we should, as I said, that you should not feel defensive as you're doing alternative medicine or whatever, Ayurveda and so on. I think you should be stronger and saying that, no, I think we know also. You know, but we know also, and that's why I think we can do something good about it, about the patient, because it's not your patient, it's not my patient, it's our patient. And I think that would be the integrative medicine is the future. Now in India, all India Institute of Medical Sciences, all of them have Ayurvedic section. There are 60, 70 All India Institute. And I was in Jodhpur last week actually, and I've seen there also that how they are working. And this was my message also, that don't sit in your corner and say that, well, I know everything. You go to the other side also and see that the other side also knows. So both can actually work together. Integrative medicine is my actually message. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's brilliant to hear those words, and it's amazing. I think the research from the 80s here in Sweden actually showed, or maybe it wasn't in Sweden, but it showed how the impact of how the doctor will act to the patient will be. It will be shown if the healing will be successful or not. And I mean, this is something that we already know, but we have to practice to get the effect of it. And it's so important also always when we meet in Ayurvedic medicine, when we meet clients, I usually use 1.5 hour asking questions. 1.5 hour, or 1 hour at least. So that's what we do. And especially when you say that half 10 minutes might not be enough. And we have to respect the patients. I really liked what you said about it's our patient. And maybe if we just try to see how we can measure health in how many people are actually healing by going to hospital. But I think that's the only key figure we need. How many people heal from our treatments. Well, there's another thing I was thinking about when we reach the meditation question, and that's how we meditate is important. When we see, and this can relate to Indian people who discovered zero. So when we meditate, if we are having a vata imbalance, for example, meditating on zero or nothing, emptying the mind, would actually increase the vata imbalance, because we are afraid of zero in Sweden. That's because we have not the same experience, and we have not the same access to the spiritual part of Ayurveda, or the spiritual part of life, that we think that everything possible is possible when nothing is there. So we think that one is the thing, it has to be full. So that's why we fill our life with activities and we fill our minds with things because we think that will heal. But it's actually the opposite that will heal. But to come there, it takes an effort because we need to realize who we are and we need to realize that we can meet our feelings without being scared of them. So I will address the next question to Camilla, and then I think we should conclude and have some discussion. So how can we board the concept of yoga and Ayurveda to help people recognize their own importance of taking action in their daily life to become healthier?
Well, it's a bit about what you said, that you know yourself best. So, in a way, we as practitioners need to help our clients to see their own potential and that they are their own guru. They don't need anyone outside to know, am I feeling ill or am I not? But as a practitioner, you might need the searching light of the practitioner helps them to see what's inside themselves, what can be in the way for them to grow more health. I have an example of myself, really, because for about 30 years ago, I got a disease, an autoimmune disease, and the doctor said that you might need a wheelchair and you have to take strong drugs for the rest of your life, and you will have a lot of pain and your spine will grow together so you won't be able to move, you will be like this. So for 4 years I thought that was the truth, that I'm going to be disabled and I'm not going to be able to live a normal life. And then I felt like, no, I can't do this. I have to take charge of this. I have to do something. So in that time, I got in contact with yoga, and the yoga asanas, the more physical part, was really painful. So I had to take it easy, but I did it. And also I wanted to eat as healthy as I could because I knew that what I put in my body will have a difference. And also about the mind, because I was constantly, putting myself down. You're not enough, you can't do this. All these negative thoughts. Some of you were talking about positive thoughts. I think it was Tijan. So for the last 25 years, I have healed myself. Of course, I've got 2 practitioners, but not the allopathic medicine, other practitioners. And also I have had a lot of groups with people coming from, they had some musculoskeletal problems and they have been off work like for 2 years and they don't know what to do to get them back. So we try to have, not be afraid to move the body when you have pain. I think that's a great thing, because if you start to not move one part of your body, you get more pain, and in the end, you end up like you can't move at all. So I don't even eat any drugs, any medicines. I haven't done it for 25 years. So, but I get the disease is still in my system because it won't get out of it, but I can hold it down by how I live. And I can see so clearly when I'm stressed out, when I don't get enough sleep, when I don't take care of myself, my thoughts, it's kind of popping up. And then I have, yes, that's the pain. And then I know, okay, now I have to not start over, but I have to get it down again. And I think with many of these diseases that you have, you can do with small changes. You can do very much. So, thank you.
Thank you. So when it comes to how we can be more practical, we are a bunch of Ayurvedic practitioners in Sweden. We are having this Ayurveda Association, which is a platform for all of us. And we have this excellent professor at the Karolinska, and we have all the population who are ill. So how can we do now to spread the word of Ayurveda and integrative medicine so more people can use it? So I think we all will answer those questions, but if I give you a short, if you give a short answer, Eva, what would that be? What can we do to be more practical now? What is the next step from here?
Well, I think I've been talking here before about my vision, and that is to start an intervention program with medicals and Ayurveda practitioners, where we start to look, let's say, on diabetic patients, and we treat them with an Ayurvedic approach, and then we can measure compared to those who get the conventional treatments. I think that is my absolutely vision for this. So.
Thank you, Emma. And Dr. Tejal, what would you say?
I would like to first thank you, Dr. Diwan, because I think that is the important thing about integration, working together. That is the future. I mean, that is what we should do. And I think we have to start at individual level, and also talk about Ayurveda and yoga and meditation to our kids, because those are the coming generation. And if we talk about Ayurveda, how we can have our daily routine, how we need our yoga and meditation practice every day, I think that is the important thing for our society, and to look forward and for our future to take it forward in the next generation. I think that is the important thing for me, as I feel.
Thank you so much, Tim. And what would you say?
Well, I think I've said most of it what I wanted to say. But I will again underline what I've said, that the WHO Center for Traditional Medicine in India, it was created, actually the government of India is very much supporting it, and I think the acceptability of the traditional medicine is increasing more and more. Now the WHO wants to have universal health care for everybody, and without traditional medicine there won't be any universal health care for everybody. I think what the healthcare policymakers need to see is that what is good in one kind of medicine and what is good in another kind of medicine, and put them together, instead of finding a hierarchy in this, that this medicine is better than the other one, and so on and so forth. I think it's the time that we should really integrate, that's my last message.
Thank you so much. And Camilla, what would you say would be next step?
Oh, I think every one of my colleagues here have said it all, but integration, and I hope, I don't know how to do it more accessible, and that people can see that you have this Ayurvedic knowledge in the world, because yoga is so much, everybody knows what yoga is now, but Ayurveda is more, what is that? If you talk about it, they haven't heard about it. So I think we need to get it out more, the Ayurvedic part, and integrate. Yeah.
Can I just mention, last week I was in Leh, Ladakh, and it's 3,500 meter high. And when we came to the hotel, they said, well, 24 hours you have to stay in the hotel because you have to acclimatize first. And then they gave us a camphor in a bag, so that you should smell it. I never knew that camphor can actually improve your breathing or take up of the oxygen in your blood. And that was actually helped very much. We were in there 24 hours, but then after we went out and so on and so forth. Anyone, and I can do this reclam with currently advertisement, anyone who wants to know India actually should go to Leh. It's beautiful. I think so.
That is wonderful to hear. And what you all say is that you need to experience how it feels when in your body when you are healed. And many of us haven't even experienced that feeling of having the total equilibrium between the body, mind and soul. And that's really what we feel when we do Panchakarma. So maybe go to India, do Panchakarma, or go to a clinic in Sweden doing this Panchakarma. It's amazing how the body feels when you are in this stage of health. And I think we should continue the discussion, and I hope that we can also try to make some studies on maybe diabetes would be a great way to start. I have had clients with diabetes who have been having pain and suffering for years and years, and after just 1 month of Ayurvedic herbs and diet, it's fine. So that is how it shows, but it takes a long time when it just goes from mouth to mouth. So it's what you say that make it more accessible to people and to make it not so complicated. Ayurveda is not complicated at all. It's just to go and follow the daily routines, follow the moon cycle, follow the eat when you're hungry and go to sleep when it's not when it's dark in Sweden, then you will be sleeping all the time. So maybe we should adjust to the climate of where we live. So that's also part of Ayurveda. I'm so grateful that we could make this today, and to all of you who are here listening to us, and for Indian Embassy to inviting us again and hosting us here. It's such a privilege to work with Ayurveda. I'm an engineer by background, but my passion is in Ayurveda. And if everyone just use their passion, then life will be so easy. So thank you so much for coming here, all of you today, and looking forward to spread the words of Ayurveda, and looking forward to see your tremendous work in this field, in whatever you do. So thank you so much.